Hello, my dear students. How are you all? Hope everything is fine. So we are here after the half-yearly examinations. Uh, Yesterday, the result was declared, and many of you they got good marks in English. Not only English, in all the subjects they scored good marks. So I hope the same it will be continue in the annual exam also. So I am here today. A new lesson we will see from Honeycomb from class 7 English textbook. So there in the half yearly examination we have seen up to chapter 5. So now we will see chapter 6. So expert detectives. So detectives who are searching something, no, they are called the detectives. So and these detectives are here very expert. So we will see and the exercise this story afterwards. Okay, first we will read this lesson. First we will read this lesson. So first you all of you get ready with the English textbook Honeycomb class 7. Okay, you get ready with your pencil and with your textbook and just have a look and with your pencil you can just follow me. No need to read, but you just follow me my reading. Okay, now what is there? Nishad, a boy of 7, also called 7 because his name means the 7th note on the musical scale, and his 10-year-old sister Maya are curious are curious about one Mr. Nath. Then one day the children's marble rolls into Mr. Nath's room and Nishad gets a chance to see him. Is he a crook on the run? Why is his face badly scared? Why has he no friends? Nishad's mother, a doctor, knows Mr. Nath as a patient who is very polite. So all these things we will see here in this lesson. So I will start my reading. Okay. As we walked back towards the clinic, 7 said, "He doesn't look anything like a monster, Maya. But did you see how thin he is? Maybe he is very poor and can't afford to eat. He can't be poor if he is a crook on the run." I told him, "He is probably got millions of rupees stashed away somewhere in that room." Stashed away means hidden away. Do you really think he is a criminal, Maya? He doesn't look like one. Nisad looked doubtful. Of course, he is one. 7, I said, and he certainly isn't starving. Mr. Mehta told us that Ramesh brings his meals up from the restaurant downstairs. But Maya, Mr. Mehta told us he doesn't work anywhere. So how can he possibly have money to pay for food? Nishad said. Exactly, I exclaimed. He must have lots of money hidden somewhere, maybe in that trunk in his room. It's probably full of silver and gold and jewels. And what rubbish, Nishad interrupted. I know, I am right, stop it, I told him. By the way, 7, did you see his skirts? I couldn't. It was too dark, but I bet he got them during a shootout with the police or something. Mummy told us quite clearly They were burnt skirts, Nisat said family. Perhaps the police had to set his house on fire to force him out, I suggested. Seven looked unsure. On the Monday following uh, Mama's birthday, Seven went alone with her to the clinic at Girgaon as I was spending the evening with a school friend. Then, when they returned, Nisad told me he had been to see Mr. Nath, and I felt most annoyed that I hadn't been there. Seven had been quite upset about Mr. Nath's gaunt appearance and was sure that he was starving. He told me that he had knocked loudly on Mr. Nath's door that evening and said, "Open the door quickly, Mr. Nath." The man had opened it and asked him, "Lost another marble?" He had obviously recognized my brother. "No," said Nisad. He had taken the man's hand in his own and thrust a bar of chocolate into it. "Did you get a chance to peek into the trunk, Seven?" I asked. Nisad looked disappointed. "He didn't even ask me in," he said. Then he smiled. "But I did find out something, Maya. I went down to the restaurant where Ramesh works and talked to him." "Good for you, Mr. Detective," I said, patting him on the back. "I hope you questioned him properly." Seven looked pleased. "Ramesh told me that he takes 2 meals for Mr. Nath every morning and evening, and 2 cups of tea, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Ramesh says he is not very particular about what he eats. It's always the same food, 2 chapatis, some dal, and a vegetable. Mr. Nath pays cash and tips well." "Ramesh told me something very strange, Maya," Seven added. "Almost every Sunday he carries 2 lunches to Mr. Nath's room, and the same man is with him each time. He is tall, fair, stout, and wears spectacles. Ramesh says his visitor talks a lot, unlike Mr. Nath, who hardly speaks." "Well done, Nisad," I told him. "Now that we have made some progress with our inquiries, we will have to sort out all the facts like expert detective so that we can trap the crook." How you do go on, Maya," Seven sighed. "How can you possibly imagine he is a crook? He looks so ordinary." "Criminal can look quite ordinary, smarty," I retorted. "Did you see the picture of the Hyderabadi housebreaker in the papers yesterday? He looked like any man on the street." Nisad looked doubtful. "The monsoons broke the next day. Dark clouds accompanied by blinding flashes of lightning and roaring rolls of thunder burst with all their fury, flooding the streets with a heavy downpour. School was to have reopened after the summer holiday, but no traffic could move through the flooded roads, and there was an unexpected holiday. I thought I had spent the time usefully. I sat at my desk in our bedroom with a sheet of paper before me. By appointment to officially chosen by some important. So then I began writing. About half an hour later, I turned towards Seven, who was lying in his tummy, chin cup in his palms, reading comics. "Want to hear what I have written?" I asked. He looked up questioningly. "I have listed all the facts we know about Mr. Nath, which might help us to trap him," I said. "Want to hear?" Seven nodded. "Fact number 1. I read his name is Mr. Nath. We must discover his first name." Do you think that's his real name, Maya? Nisad asked. Probably not. I said most crooks have an alias. I added a big question mark after not. Fact number 2. I read on. The tenants at Shankar house say he is mad, strange and unfriendly. Number 3. He doesn't talk to anyone and he is mannerless. But he did talk to us, Maya, and Mama says he is very polite. Nishat interrupted. He only talked to us because he had to, I said. And since he was under Mama's medical treatment, he had to be polite. Fact number 4. He doesn't receive any letters. 7 nodded. Number 5. He's been living in room 10 of Shankar house for more than a year. I continued. Number 6. He doesn't walk and sits in his room all day. Number 7. The kids in Shankar house and even some of the grown-ups are scared of him. Number 8. He has no visitors except for a spectacle, fair fat man who visits him on Sundays for lunch. Number 9. Food and tea are taken to his room by Ramesh from the restaurant downstairs. He doesn't care what he eats, pays his bill immediately and tips well. That ends my list. Have I forgotten anything, 7? Nisad had obviously not been paying too much attention to my list of facts. All he could say was, poor man Maya, he must be so lonely if he doesn't have any friend. How can a crook have friends, idiot? I almost shouted. At least he has one friend, the one who meets him on Sundays, said Nisad. A brilliant thought occurred to me just then. That man must be Mr. Nath's accomplice in crime, I said. Maybe he keeps all the loot and he comes now and then to give part of it to his partner, Mr. Nath, for expenses. That's it. I'm sure I'm right. If you insist on calling him a criminal, I don't think I want to discuss anything with you, Maya, said Nishat angrily. He can't be such a bad man if he gives Ramesh such generous tips. Ramesh probably knows something about his past, so Mr. Nath must be bribing him to keep quiet, I said. Nishat glared at me with his arms tightly crossed across his chest. I was beginning to get fed up with him. How can we make any progress with our investigation if you take the attitude, 7? I asked. I will cooperate only if you give up this idea about him being a scapegoat, said 7. You really make me angry. I almost hit him. I make you angry, you stupid oaf, I shouted. You make me mad. What is the point of all these inquiries if he is not a crook? If you think he is a nobody, what's the idea of bothering about him? Please tell me. Nishad looked thoughtful. I had liked to find out why he is so thin and why he is so lonely. I want to know why he doesn't have any friends and lives alone. Try to understand, 7. I one told him if he lived in Shankar house for a year and hasn't made a single friend, there's something wrong. He is obviously scared that someone will recognize him and give him up to the cops. Maybe no one tried to make friends with him, Nisat protested. Why should anyone bother? You have seen what a nasty bear he is. One said. One don't care, said Nisad stubbornly. One like him, and I am going to try and be his friend. Friends with a crook. Ha, you are crazy, 7, I said. The cops will take you to jail with him. Do you want that to happen, you idiot? Nisat merely glared at me and quietly walked out of the room. My theories seemed to have made no impression on him at all. written by the Sarada Trivedi from the Broken Flute. So this is what the reading of this lesson is completed. So you also read this lesson at home, and it is very simple. If you read, then you will understand everything, and in the next class I will explain about these lessons, okay? And if you have any doubt, it will be clear to you all, and after that we will see what will be there. So today, my dear student, I stopped here. Thank you very much.